John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema classics.
Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando. It airs Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. Listen to shows and read reviews online at wcbe.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm G Kline.
and this is Cinema Classics. And Ken, so glad you're here because I'm just overwhelmingly in support of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. And I'm just, and I know I rarely pick somebody just because they like a particular group of films or whatever, but I know you like the Mad Max series, and I do too. So the new one, Furiosa. What do you think?
I'm right in there with you, John. This is a great one, and when it's a franchise I've grown up with and I know and I enjoy, I'm probably even harder on it when they release new movies, and this is the case here, and this is one that I really think they did a great job.
Why?
Well, for one thing, they did not become obsessed with the icons of the old movies. This is not about worshiping Mad Max's character. This is not about his car.
Well, heck not. He doesn't even appear.
Well, he does appear. He does
Oh,
appear for a couple of seconds, about two-thirds the way through the movie, to rescue Furiosa. But you only see him as a silhouette from behind, and you see.
Is it Hardy?
It's not Hardy. It's an unknown actor, just in the jacket. You don't see his face. You just see him, and you see that tried and true vintage Australian Torino that is the signature Mad Max car.
Well, the star of this show is a young woman that I really like.
Anya Taylor-Joy, and she's becoming one of my favorite actresses. I like her work. I think she is a very, very attractive actress. Now, is she as good as Sandra Bullock in Fury Road? I don't think so.
Is she as good as Charlize Theron?
No, or I'm sorry, is she as good as Charlize Theron in Fury Road? I don't think so.
I think you're right.
But I think she's given less to do. I mean, for one thing, this movie doesn't even have 5 pages of dialogue.
Listen, does she have 30 lines? That's what
If
she
that,
has.
if that.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, there's almost, and the vast majority of dialogue in this movie goes to
Oh, Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, he plays Dementus.
He plays Dementus.
Dr. Dementus.
Well, I don't know if it's Dr.
It is
Dementus.
Dr.
It is Dr.
Yes,
Dementus?
it is,
Okay.
it is.
But yeah, he gets the majority of the dialogue, and it's a good thing that he's in there because he brings he's wonderful, and he brings some comedy to this movie.
Listen, if you loved him as Thor, and I'm so okay, all right. So he's handsome, and he's tall, and he's muscular, and he's Thor. When you see him as Dr. Dementus, you'll say, that man is an actor. This is a Hollywood star.
Absolutely. He has really broken out of Thor. He's one of the actors that has managed to escape the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he's, I think, on a pathway similar to the pathway that Schwarzenegger was on back in the 80s. He's got a great acting future ahead of him. He can do comedy, and that's one of the things that really helps him.
He can stick his tongue in his cheek.
Absolutely.
And do it with such class, and actually doesn't hammer you with it.
Well, we saw that in the Thor films too, because the Thor Love and Thunder was basically a comedy, and although a lot of the fans do not like that movie,
That's right.
I liked it because it showed a bigger range than most of the Marvel characters get to show.
Well, all right, so we need to tell our audience what this is about. If you could possibly tell anybody what this is about. First of all, it is about George Miller, the director.
George Miller, the director, who has been tied with the Mad Max series for a very long time.
Doing another one. It's in production.
Oh, there was another one in production. Oh,
Can you
okay.
believe that?
Well, I'm interested to see how they pulled that off because they I don't know if this was a mistake on their part, but they showed during the closing credits clips that bridge this film right up to Fury Road. So there's no opportunity really to stick a movie between this film and Fury Road.
Don't know either, but I do know one thing. Because Wayne and I frequently go to Lenox, which is not your favorite place, but we usually go. And we're there, and the young man who was going to clean the theater as we're jabbering away, as the credits are rolling, he told us to stay because there was a clip at the end, and he was right. It was rarely about 2 seconds, and it looks like some kind of a mechanism, the kind that you might have at the top of a building or whatever, that spins around with the wind. I can't tell you what it is. I've exhorted people who are going to go see it to try to tell me what that is. It's a split second.
Well, the movie's doing great at the box office, so there's every reason to believe that there will be another one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
anytime
yeah.
a franchise continues to make money for them, that's usually a good sign that they're going to keep it going.
And let's keep going with George Miller in our podcast, okay, which people
Yep.
are going to have to go to WCBE.org, podcast experience, double take to get.
But let's take a step back
Yes.
and say what this movie is about.
Yes,
This is a
please.
prequel to the last film, which was called Fury Road,
Right.
which starred Sandra Bullock.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
You got Sandra Bullock on the mind.
Who is it?
Look at you.
Who is it?
Charlize.
Yeah, which starred Charlize Theron.
Look at you.
And that film was a sequel to Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, set in the future
Yes,
from
right.
Thunderdome. So what we're doing with this film is we're taking a step back and we're giving you now the origin of Furiosa, Charlize Theron's character
Yes.
that we saw that was
No.
introduced in Fury Road.
They even show you how she lost her arm.
They do.
I
They
thought that
show
was a
you- yeah.
spectacular
They
shot.
don't leave too much uncovered.
Yeah,
They
right.
give us a little bit of a backstory on the villain that we saw in Fury Road, but I love how Chris Hemsworth comes in as yet a second villain. And so this is a movie with two villains who can't stand each other. So Charlize Theron's former character, Furiosa, now played by Anya Taylor-Joy, is now caught in the middle between these two feuding warlords, one of whom has captured one of the prized towns of the other warlord.
That's right.
And those two are having to work it out, very poorly I would add, to try to settle how they're going to work things out. And she gets caught in the middle of this.
Well, for the soft of heart like me, there is the, what is it called, that Nirvana place that she leaves, that her mom leaves.
The place of abundance.
Abundance.
Yeah,
is
the place
name
of abundance,
Right,
yes.
so if any of you are out there saying, is this also bleak and dark? No, there is, but that has to be
Mhm.
protected. Because when you see these boys with their tricked up machines and their bikes, you want to get out of
Well,
Australia and go wherever
This
you can
movie
go.
also proves something I suspected for a long time, which is nobody went to see the Road Warrior movies for Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah, no, you went to see them for the cars and the chases.
These are-
I mean, this was the series, and this series did not invent this formula. This formula goes back to Death Race 2000, back in the mid-70s. But the idea of these zooped-up cars with weapons all over them, running through the desert, destroying each other, and Mel Gibson was just there to tie it
Oh,
all
yeah.
together.
And these guys, not that Mel Gibson looking like, but these guys are like big, balding, tattooed guys.
Masks and
Oh,
their
and they're just
motorcycles
ugly.
are covered with skulls and antlers and knives.
They
And
really are.
yeah. And this one introduces a mega truck, which is something that we had a nice truck battle in Road Warrior, the second Mad Max
Ah.
movie. But this one introduces this double-bottom tanker trailer that is just a wheeled battleship. And it makes for a great set-piece battle. And of course, the thing that they got right with these movies early on is they filmed them in the Australian outback. And they did that because it was cheap. Back when they made Mad Max on no budget, there was no cost involved to go out in the desert and film a
It
movie.
looks just as deadly as the Sahara to me.
Yeah, so all the money went into the costumes and into the cars.
Look at, they got these gigantic tires. It reminds me
Yes.
of the ads I see for these ones that crush cars.
Yeah, monster
have
trucks.
paid by monster
Yes,
trucks.
yes. And they got this formula going in the 80s, and it still works. People will go forever and go see movies with giant weaponized trucks and people dressed in skulls and antlers just duking it out through the desert.
Oh, and I'll tell you, what also makes it work?
Hmm.
There's some heart in here. There's some emotion here. It's not just all visual.
No, the mother's character is a really
Ooh,
nice
isn't
character.
she Gal
We didn't
Gadot type?
mention her, but yeah, what
Oh,
a terrific
yeah.
character. Carries about the first 15 minutes of the
Yeah,
movie
thank you.
single-handedly.
That's right.
Yeah, really enjoyed that. And that's one of the best parts of the movie is that business in the beginning with her mother.
And we talked about Hemsworth as Dr. Dementor.
Yes.
And there's a nuance in that character that I really like. And I suspect there's a little bit of heart somewhere in all of that, but that he doesn't come off as some kind of an ogre.
No, he brings a dimension to that character I think that we've never seen in a Road Warrior movie before, because Mel Gibson didn't bring us anything.
No, right.
He was more like Clint Eastwood, the man with no name in the old Sergio Leone movies. He hardly ever spoke. But this Chris Hemsworth character speaks a lot, and he has a lot of complexity to his character. It's really refreshing to see a three-dimensional character in a Mad Max movie.
How about Praetorian Jack, who was played by Tom Burke, somebody I don't know, but they're exclaiming he's a revelation. And he's the one who drives the truck.
Yes, yeah, he does a real nice job. He's very different from Mel Gibson. He's not designed to replace Mel Gibson. He's a romantic character. He has a compassionate, soft side. I really wish we actually had seen more of him in the movie.
I do. I think we will later. But curiously enough, he played one of my all-time great heroes in another movie. And you will know what I'm talking about. In Mac, he played Orson Welles.
Oh, that's right.
But this
Yes.
is something you might forget. But if you look at him and see him, he has some Wellesian look to him. But I love the way he's so driven, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their relationship is excellent because there's no romance. Well, I shouldn't say that.
There's an implied relationship, but it never really develops.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right. G Kline, we know people have to go to hear more of you, and I don't blame them. But right now, tell our audience what you think.
I think this is a great entry into the Mad Max series. I have no reservations about encouraging everyone, go see this movie. If you love Mad Max, you're going to see it anyway. But even if you're not a big fan of the Mad Max franchise, if you got the time, this is a great film to see.
There's a lot of violence. There's an awful lot of racing and so on. Do you think this is okay for kids under 10 or?
No, I wouldn't take anyone young to this, but I think if they're over about 14, you're probably fine.
Okay. And for us, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
I'm John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda